Ratman, it's finally here.
What is?
But you don't. What? You know what it is.
What's here?
Halo Infinite campaign is here. Finally.
Who? Where am I? What year is it? Is it 2020?
Are we doing a bit? Or are we doing?
Is it 2020? Isn't Halo Infinite supposed to come out in 2020?
No, it got delayed
Why?
because they sucked at the graphics. That's why.
Who sucked?
The people before Joseph Staten came in.
Oh no! You mean the people who made Halo 4 and Halo 5 don't know how to make a Halo game?
Oh.
Oh.
All right. You over there, what did you think of Halo Infinite's campaign?
I enjoyed it. It was good.
Yeah, I would say so too.
It was good. I wouldn't say it's like mind blowing.
Sure.
Like the way that the first time I played Halo 1 or 2 or 3, but it does it brought up some feels.
Is it better than 4 and 5 in your opinion?
I like the gameplay is more fun than both of those for sure, 100%. But story-wise, Halo 4 might take it a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say my summation is I love the first 60 to 70% of this game, both gameplay and story wise.
And then
it gets complicated. I don't hate it, but certain things happen both in gameplay and in story where things start to fall apart. And the biggest weakness of this game, I think, really starts to shine a bit.
yeah.
I would say, I mean, we're going into spoilers. I'm gonna just I don't care. Spoiler warning. I would say right after the turret section, where after you fight the two brute Spartan killers, that's where the gameplay. I should probably back up. I'll start with what I love about this game, and then I'll go into the weakness.
Let's just start from the beginning. How do you like the beginning of this game?
Oh, I love
the first two levels.
That's
kind of what introduced you to everything.
Sure. We'll split it into gameplay and story. So gameplay.
Yeah.
I love the simplicity. I love that there's no stupid Spartan abilities. It's just it feels very classic Halo. Aside from the grapple hook, which is more of a positioning tool.
Yeah, it's there's parts I like and there's parts I don't like.
I should probably throw art style in there too. I love the art style and the atmosphere compared to the other Halo 4 and 5. I love the look of the Banished. I love how the Forerunners look. Do you have a differing opinion or?
No. I like how everything looks. I was just gonna say like this problem. I think this gameplay and story. Well, gameplay has a problem with variety. Like once you get through that 60-70% mark, like they don't really throw much new at you. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And there's no. I mean, no, the bosses are great. Let me just say. Well, the beginning bosses, they kind of throw some repeat. Like I was hoping every boss would have their own gimmick, but then like some of the bosses start to have the same gimmick.
Okay.
Maybe are just stronger with the same gimmick. But like I'm saying, the gameplay just has a problem in variety. But it's so fun that I wasn't like.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't bored by the end, but I was just kind of disappointed that like we weren't getting anything brand new, spanking new at the end, or like some. And I think like most of the Halo games are great in that they throw little things at you the entire story, and then at the end you're fighting everything at once.
Okay.
But in Halo Infinite, you're basically fighting everything at once from like the 50% on mark, except for Banshees. That's about it.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about the open world stuff before we got to that, but I guess I'll.
I'm not
since
really. I'm talking about both. Both sort of things.
Okay. Well, let's just get this out of the way then, since we're already talking about it. I heard that there was 2/3 of this game that was cut from the final product, and that, in my opinion, gameplay wise, is the biggest problem with Halo Infinite right now. Where once you get to the 60-70% mark, right after the turret section, the anti-aircraft section.
Mm-hmm. Where you first get the Wasp.
Yeah. If you worked up all the side stuff, you get the Wasp. Yeah. Everything starts to feel a bit empty. Like there's not enough going on in the world. In terms of like, I don't know if you've ever played like Skyrim or you've played GTA. GTA 5
and Fallout and stuff like that.
There is arguably a lot more going on in those type of open world games than Halo Infinite is.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like side quests that aren't like samey.
Yeah, I was hoping. I'm willing to bet that there was stuff like this in there, but they had to cut it. For whatever reason. Like I was hoping for like maybe some fresh new side missions. Like let's say maybe like even simple stuff like, hey, the Banished are carrying this package of supplies on this trail. Mm-hmm. You could ignore them, do what you want, or you can go and intercept them and maybe get some sort of reward for it.
Time events. Sort of deal?
Or these Marines are getting carried off the ring, and if you don't do something, they're going to be lost forever. You can ignore them, but you could do something.
Yeah, I thought there were going to be more like in Red Dead they call them random encounters, where like you'll see something happening and you could choose to interact or not with it. And it's just kind of for your own fun. It's not really like mandatory at all.
Sure.
But you might get something good out of it if you do intervene or something like that. Which I think that's a huge problem is like those. At the beginning, I thought the target system was cool because you were getting like all these unique weapons. The unique weapons are really cool, but like those encounters just kind of stink after a while, where you get the unique weapons and stuff. They could have been so much better and like more unique.
The problem is the arcane sentinel beam completely trumps everything.
Yeah, I told you, it's crazy.
Yeah, like both when you give it to the Marines and when you go into the individual missions, like when you do legendary, you need the arcane sentinel beam for sure. Mm-hmm. So we already talked about possible missing content and samey missions. Let's talk about the open world just in general. What is there, and what did you like right when you stepped out onto Zeta Halo, all the way to the 70% mark? How did you feel about the game?
I really like your freedom to explore. I have found like a lot of little cool areas, but there also is a lot of like big nothingness as well. But I do like how you can go everywhere.
Yeah,
and kind of approach a mission however you want. I like that part of it.
On one hand, I do like there are sections of nothingness. Like I don't want an open world where like every single inch of the open world is like something's happening. Like I like having that at least near the beginning of the game.
Right.
That sense of like, okay, there's some calm and peaceful parts before you get to something you find later. I don't know. It makes it more impactful instead of like if every single square inch had something going on.
Well, I mean, like, it's pretty good.
I guess
this game doesn't have a lot. Like, once you get to the third island, you've been looking at the same terrain the whole time.
They don't change the biome at all. Yeah,
they don't change the biome at all. Like, it's all like
I'm curious,
flat mountainous with like paths in between. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it kind of gets
old.
A little old. Yeah.
The three environments you get are the forest area, which is the open world, and then you have the Forerunner levels like the Spire, and then you have the Banished ship or Banished towers. That's basically the three biomes you get.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they're either it was cut content or maybe it's going to be in a DLC. Yeah. We do know DLC's coming. So.
Right. This game's a 10-year game, so.
Yeah, so perhaps I would have liked it if it was all in one game, but I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, they have a good baseline.
They do. I will say, when I walked out on, I don't know, even when I replay the game, I love the part when the door opens and Zeta Halo opens.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds cheesy, but it's so magical the way it happens.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, all of it. Like those first 3 levels are all when you first see the Forerunner stuff too. It's just like so well done.
Yeah.
That it was magical seeing all the Silexes and stuff like that, like spinning around.
Yeah, and the fact that you could like go wherever you want like when there's parts where there's like just floating pillars, like just for the sake of it, and you don't have to go up there, but you can if you want.
Right. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. What else?
I also I do most of the time I don't really like searching for stuff in games. Like that's kind of like the boring part for me. But I actually enjoyed like kind of scavenging around for things, and I really like the audio logs. Like they are definitely worth picking up and listening to.
Oh, I love those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also love. I guess we're talking about audio logs now. I do love the little jabs at Halo 5 in it. Like there's this part where. So there's audio logs that you don't collect. There's some that are just there in your system, and there's one where Dr. Halsey's like, "Okay, John, are you willing to do this mission? Go and kill Cortana." And Chief doesn't answer, and then she's like, Sergeant Locke is always on standby," and he's like, "No, not needed." And then there's other ones where it's not an audio log, but there's You know the telecommunication towers where the grunt says stuff.
Yeah.
There's one where he says, that Locke knows how to get ahead, so that's why Dramonius turned his helmet into a decoration. I'm sure Locke is a cool character outside of the games, but like I love that that little jab at Halo 5.
Yeah.
But anyway, but other than that, I do love the storytelling through the audio logs, where Halo 4 and 5 had so much dialogue crowded in there, trying to explain everything. I like how simple the dialogue is.
Right, you have to figure it out
Halo
yourself. It's kind of like a mystery.
Yeah. And the audio logs are well done compared to Halo 5, because there's audio logs in Halo 5, and they kind of suck.
But I would say these are the best audio logs in mostly any game.
Even ODST?
ODSTs are great.
Is it better than ODST, do you think? Or because ODST is like one.
I love OD. They're different because this kind of like
you're following different.
This gives you context of what's like been going on like to the Infinity and stuff, and that is kind of just like what happened to New Mombasa through someone else's eyes. These are people
and the engineer,
that it's almost like that is its own side story, and I feel like the audio logs in Halo Infinite are telling you, or like completing the story of like what happened.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Since we're already talking about the audio logs, I will say one of the things that I really wanted in this game that I know you didn't care for, but I wanted. I love the fact that Chief is the last Spartan left, and I love that all the other Spartans are dead. I know that's kind of cruel, but like I love how special that makes you as the player.
All of them are dead.
Everything in this game, they're dead. Sure, maybe on some part of the ring, maybe.
You kind of save that Spartan in the first tower.
Well, then he dies. Yeah, but we're the only functional like Spartan left that can do something. So that's really cool that they did that. Or else Chief wouldn't have been a special character, or you, the player, wouldn't be that special if everyone is a Spartan. So just a little thing that I liked.
Yeah.
So back to the open world things that I liked. I love the forward operating bases. Aside from a few things I wish they would change about them. Like I do love the
overpoweredness.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I do love these little bases that you get that it's kind of a plot hole. Like when you capture a fob, the weapon or the new Cortana takes it off the battle net, and I guess apparently the Banished can't find it. When even though if you think about it, they could just look at like, okay, what's not on our map? Okay, they probably have this spot. So let's go get it. But other than that, I like these little safe havens that you can get for your Marines when you go rescue them.
Yeah.
I like that you can get weapons and vehicles there. The problem is it does get overpowered the longer you play the game. I don't like it when you get enough valor points. I do like the valor point system, but I don't like it when once you get like the sniper rifle or the rocket launcher or one of the power weapons from the bounty missions where you fight a boss and you take his weapon and you have the specs for that weapon. I don't like that you can just spam that weapon once you get there, because in my opinion, that kind of ruins the scavenging part where, like, at the beginning, I love the beginning of the game before the 50% mark, because when I find a sniper rifle, I'm excited for it.
Right.
About it. When I find a
you
rocket
don't already
launcher,
have like 2 overpowered weapons in your inventory that you're just like looking for ammo for. You're looking for actual weapons on the map.
When I found the Scorpion in the outpost battle, that was awesome. But then once you get it in the FOB, like, it's cool, but then it's like, I mean, this is kind of OP. How are we doing? How is this? How are the Marines able to build all these tanks? Like, I could hypothetically just spam tanks, and a little bit of an immersion problem, and it does take away the value of finding stuff on the map.
Right.
And as fun as it is to arm every Marine with an arcane sentinel beam, and maybe my combination is 2 snipers and 3 arcane sentinel beams, because the sentinel beams can't reach Jackal Snipers on like a mountain or something. Like, that's as funny as that is. That kind of gets pretty old. As you go through them.
Yeah, I stopped doing that after like 2 times doing it, because I'm like, I kind of want to fight these things, you know.
Sure.
No, I want the Marines fighting everything.
Yeah, but on Legendary, you kind of have to use that strategy, which I would have preferred if they were to change it. I would have preferred if, like, maybe you could spawn like 1 weapon and then you can't, like, I can only spawn 1 sniper.
Right,
and then,
like 1 in the 4 boxes. Like, you could pick 1 thing to get out of the 4 boxes every spawn.
I would rather have 2 boxes, and then you could decide which 2 they are. Because like 4, you could do 4 power weapons and give them to your Marines, which is a bit overpowered. I would say 2 maybe.
Well, you still need power weapons for yourself. What if the Marines could run out of ammo?
No, that's I wouldn't like that.
Because they can pick up new weapons and stuff like that.
They can pick up new weapons, but they're already kind of a liability in terms of like how stupid they are. Like, they won't follow you, or they won't stay in the vehicle when you don't want them to get out. So if I can, how about this? If that were to be a game mechanic, give me the ability to command them and tell them where to go. Like here, I guess we're getting into another con in this game, or a pro and a con. I love that the Marines play a bigger role in this game than Halo 4 and 5.
Right.
I'm kind of frustrated, though, that they didn't implement what they learned in Halo 5, where you were able to tell your Spartan team what to do, but you can't tell your team of 5 Marines, hey, I want you to stay there and don't stay on this hill and snipe everybody from there.
This was my idea, by the way.
Yeah, it was you.
You're stealing my idea.
I am stealing your idea because I like it, but
yeah. The Marines are so jank that half the time they just piss me off so much I don't bring them with me. I like halfway through the game I was just like, you know, I didn't really need them to capture anything. Like, it was just kind of like a fun gimmick. I know, like, on Legendary and stuff, I'll probably need more of their help, but like, I was just starting to get like. The amount of times, like, the Razorback will just flip over from a random rock, and all the Marines will fly out, and one of them will die because I crush him with the goddamn Razorback. And I'm like, oh my god, I just wasted time, like, trying. And then, like, I'm trying to arm all the Marines. They keep running away. I'm like, get the fucking Razorback and quit running away back to your spot. And then, like, I'm honking the horn. I'm, like, laying on the horn. The Marines just, like, looking at a wall, like, oh, what's going on? Like, you get in the fucking Razorback, dude.
It's like watching over, like, a bunch of powerful children, like.
Yeah, it is beyond frustrating sometimes.
Like,
but I do like how, you know, you could do it. But I also don't like the individuality, like the Marines are just kind of faceless death things, you know what I mean?
They are, but they've always been that.
Sure, yeah.
I will say they have a lot more personality than 4 and 5. Like, their dialogue is much more funny.
Yeah.
When you're stupid and you kill them, or you accidentally kill them, or maybe you do it on purpose, like
Yeah.
that. They actually yell at you and get angry. I don't remember if Halo 4 and 5 they did that. Like, I think they just ignored you.
I don't remember. I don't know. There weren't a lot of Marines in those games.
Yeah, exactly. So I do like that. It ranges from frustrating situations like you said, but I also love the Marines, and like there's the other end of the spectrum where we're going to the next thing I love about the open world. I love taking over the outposts because that's the time where you can make just like the biggest hilarious war happen, where you can take an army of 5 Marines either in a Razorback or I'm in a Scorpion and they're following me.
Yeah.
And we'll get to an outpost. They'll have power weapons. We'll start fighting. I'll free a bunch of Marines in the outpost. There's like 3 or 6 that I'll free. I'll give them power weapons. And then all of a sudden I have like an army of 10 or 15 Marines fighting like 50 Covenant trying to take the outpost back, and it's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, that's where the game really shines.
Yeah, the outposts are well designed, and I love that. Like, it feels like you're doing something important. Like, I know exactly why I'm capturing this base, whereas like,
well, again, I think that even the outposts follow that 60%, 70% mark, where it's like the outposts in the last part, you know, you're still like you're still shooting like, you know, making the field tanks rise out and shooting them and stuff like that. I know that it's like a different setup and stuff like that, but
sure, I wish they would have changed that.
I wish there was
yeah.
like a different, maybe like a more specific thing you had to do for each one of them.
I do like I think my favorite one is the there's a part where like there's a path in between 2 mountains, and they have like a blockade there, and your mission is just to raise the blockade and like destroy the power source to keep them from blocking that area. I don't know, just because it was different, there wasn't another power silo. It was just a completely different objective.
Yeah, I would say there are definitely like outposts that shine more than other outposts. You know what I mean? Some are a little samey, some are really good.
Samey, but at the same time, I know this is my different. This is where I differ from you in terms of Halo games. I love playing with the Marines, as frustrating as they are, and that's where I feel like they shine compared to everything else in the game.
Yeah, that's the easiest. That's most of the time that's the easiest place to get them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't really. Sometimes you can't take them to save other Marines because then like the Marine squad's on top of a mountain. You're like, there's no way I can get these Marines up this mountain.
Yeah, I wish the Hornet was in the game.
Hornet. I wish the Marines rode on the tank. I wish so many things. You know what I mean?
Well, let's take advantage of that. Let's go to the next segment. I one of the weaknesses of this game, the vehicle combat is kind of weak in my opinion. So not all of it, but
because of the terrain.
Not just the terrain, but like what the AI does and what you can do. Like, number one, there aren't
like grapple jack.
Well, no, I actually like the grapple jack because I think the enemies are tuned to like.
Well, I think when grunts are driving.
Well, grunts are stupid. Grunts are stupid.
Right, they're stupid and they get close, but the
elites and brutes will stay far away. Will stay far away. Well, number one, there's not enough vehicle variety in this game. There's just the Ghost and the Banshee.
And the chopper sucks.
And the chopper sucks, yeah.
It's better in campaign, though. It's kind of fun to run things over in campaign.
You can't run over vehicles, though, which with the chopper, which sucks. Except for, I don't know if you noticed this, when you fight the brute Spartan killer, he's riding a
that
chopper.
Thing is awesome.
They need to put that in multiplayer. Get rid of the old one.
What is really a big disappointment is I thought that would show up in the FOB. I was like, that would be awesome to ride around this super powered chopper, because you know when you kill other things you get their weapon. At the end of the game you get Atriox's hammer, you get
Jaga's blade.
Yeah, his blade. Why don't you get the damn super chopper?
I know
that thing is awesome. I actually got to drive it. Did you get to drive it?
I drove it around for a little. I mean, there weren't any enemies around to fight after the battle.
I killed him first, and I took it and killed the second guy with it.
I thought the second guy, you got him to get on the ground. He was in the air most of the time when I was fighting him.
Okay, so I made that guy. Okay, I made the first boss get out of his chopper.
Yeah.
I flipped it, and then I killed him with it, and then I don't remember if I got the second boss off. I know I did a lot of damage just shooting at him with the chopper, but I was killing everything around with the chopper.
Yeah,
I did that first. Like he's the first one I targeted, and then got him off that chopper and used it.
Yeah, I do like your idea of either have it spawn at the FOB or like maybe spread it out more in the open world. Like, wouldn't it be fun if you find one and you get to drive it?
Well, it's his thing, you know what I mean? It'd be cool if it like maybe it spawned in that location and you could go and grab it or something like that.
Sure.
Just a way to drive it again, because that thing is awesome.
It is.
And it's unique, and you know, there's not enough of that game in this game. Like super unique things that you can like.
There's no scarab fight in this entire game.
No scarab.
This would have been the perfect
No
place
boat.
to have one. Wouldn't that be cool if like you went to the open world and like maybe at the 30% mark when you look at the other, you're able to look at the other islands, like maybe you climb to the top of the mountain and you were able to look everywhere. Wouldn't it be cool if you just saw one scarab walking around in one of those islands and you're like, oh my god, I want to go over there and fight that thing? Like,
well, another thing you can't do, which I was disappointed, is you can't like grapple onto the Phantom and like fight inside the Phantom or something like that. You know what I mean? The Phantoms are pretty lame. They drop the enemies off and then you can't do anything with them. I'm like, this is the next iteration of Halo. We should be able to be, you know, if it's open world and we can do anything, let us like mess around with these Phantoms. Like they poof out of existence. Like that is frustrating.
I don't like how they poof out of existence because like maybe I'm in a Banshee and I'm chasing one and I want to blow it up and then just poofs away.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if you could like get in it and blow it up from the inside, kind of like a scarab, or like take control of it?
That would be cool.
I mean, listen. You could do it in Halo Reach now in MCC. You can fly these things.
Yeah, with mods. Yeah, but
no, I mean you can fly the Seraph in the
in the campaign.
No, in the multiplayer.
Oh, that's different. I'm talking about campaign balance. Is the only thing I would
in without mods you could fly. Remember I showed you could fly the Phantom and the Pelican. They were kind of like jank, but it's an Easter egg.
That's an Easter egg.
The only thing is it's not hard to do that. You know what I mean?
The only thing like, well, this is one of the reasons I didn't like the grapple hook being an intrinsic ability and not just a pickup on the map. Mm-hmm. I was afraid like it might ruin a Scarab battle or a Phantom battle just because like you could, instead of thinking of a clever way to like get on the Scarab or a clever way to take down the Phantom, you're just gonna be like, oh, I'll just grapple onto it and then just take it out from the inside. That does, in their defense, that might seem a bit too easy. That might make Phantoms a complete joke if you were able to do that.
Listen, it's not like there just needs to be a way. You know what I mean?
I mean,
it doesn't need to be easy.
You can't. You actually can get in there. There are YouTube videos of people getting into the Phantom.
Yeah, but it's probably jank and like not meant to happen. You know what I mean?
No, you could launch yourself off a ramp. Like if you could drive a mongoose. I've seen someone drive a mongoose right into it. I've seen someone flying in a wasp and they'll drop out of it and they'll land right on top of the.
Sure, but there's not a lot of interactability with it. You know what I mean? It's not meant to happen. I mean, if the Phantom poofs out of existence, that's not a scripted thing to happen. You know what I mean? They're meant to drop off the enemies. The player's not. You can't even grapple onto it. You can't target it.
Well, again, I don't want the ability to grapple onto it because that just kind of makes the grapple hook more overpowered than I want it to be.
Listen, it doesn't have to be overpowered though. You can do things to make it harder for the player to. You know, you could put energy shields on it or something to stop the player from doing that. And the Banished Scarab is like completely armored. Like it's not like the Halo 3 Scarab where you can like get on the back and shoot the power source. It's like completely armored. So like with the Banished Scarab, you would have to I feel like you would have to go through corridors and put in the work. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be an easy fight. And, like, you could make it much more mobile, too, and, like, kick you off and stuff if you try to grapple onto it.
Yeah. Okay.
Lots of ideas.
Two things I agree with you with. I don't like it when the Phantom poofs away. I do understand that you need to like things to despawn from the map because the more things you have on the map, the more processing power
Yeah.
is going on. The idea I have is for the Phantom is instead of it making it disappear completely, maybe make it turn invisible and it lasts for like 30 more seconds. And like if I'm shooting at it and I know like generally where it is and I almost have it, like let me blow it up.
Sure. Well, it should honestly, it should have some AI to fight back or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the Phantoms aren't really. They don't feel interactable like everything else.
Sure.
Like that's my problem with them is everything in an open world game needs to be interactable, not scripted, unless it's one of the story missions or something like that.
I will say this. I do appreciate the fact that unlike Halo 4 and 5, you can blow up the Phantom, which is pretty cool. It doesn't have the explosions not as cool as Halo 3, but the fact that I can destroy a Phantom is pretty cool. Like at least it's a step up from that. I know. I'm finding the silver lining in this.
I'm just saying I'm disappointed with that part. I'm disappointed that I know it has to run on last gen consoles, but I'm disappointed that there's not more. It's not. It feels like an old Halo game. You know what I mean? It kind of still has that feel that old Halo jank.
Maybe that doesn't bother.
It's charming, but I kind of wish that there was an upgrade. You know what I mean?
Sure.
When you get the open world
again,
that's what I say. I'm pleased with it, but I'm taken aback by things that could be better.
Maybe it was part of the 2/3 of the content that was cut. Maybe what you want in the Phantoms was there, and they just couldn't do it.
I think it's more of a has to run on last gen sort of deal.
Maybe. Yeah, force everyone to buy a Series X. Force everyone to buy.
Well, I think eventually the game, because a lot of games will like start on old gen and then it's just like we can't pack any more in this game for old consoles. You gotta upgrade for this content of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know that ray tracing is gonna come to Halo Infinite, and that's something that is not possible on old gen hardware at all.
Even though Doom Eternal was able to do it,
you don't have ray tracing.
Yeah, I do.
That's not you can't have ray tracing on old gen.
Yeah, I do. If I play Cult of Space, like everything's so shiny, and I can like see my reflection in like the walls, like it's that good.
I'll have to see, but I thought that was something only possible on the Series X.
No, it's for everything.
Well, listen, maybe they have to downgrade the FPS or something. I don't know, but
okay.
I'm just saying it's not when you're talking about performance, it's something that's not very feasible on old hardware.
Yeah,
I'm just saying the features need to be cut, and they can only be possible on new hardware. So
I get it.
I think eventually, if the game is going to be 10 years, there's going to be a point where it's like we can't support this on old consoles.
Get a Series X or you're being left behind, I guess.
Or a computer, or
Well, I mean, computers you can always upgrade that. So I'm talking about like my Xbox, but
yeah. But that's just, it's just a fact of life. Old hardware dies.
Sure.
You can't just keep making games for the same hardware, just unless you're Nintendo.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. So we talked about the open world, what we liked and what we didn't like. Let's talk about the what did you think of? We're still on gameplay. What did you think of the enemy AI design, the combat loop, the fact that the grapple hook and everything else is not a pickup. It's an intrinsic ability. How do you feel when you're not fighting with Marines? It's just you in the linear missions. How do you feel?
I'm gonna have to play on legendary, but I feel like the AI is like there's a bit of inconsistency about whether it's like too easy or just complete overkill hard.
Sure. You played on normal, so
on normal, yeah. And I also didn't upgrade my shields until the very end, so there might have been some frustration there.
Okay.
Without upgrading my shields.
I upgraded my shields like immediately, like as soon as possible.
Yeah, I just wanted to like kind of experience the game, a little bit weaker as the game goes on, because I feel like you do get kind of overpowered, but I didn't upgrade my shields, which kind of led to situations where like a few frustrating situations like. Hunters are frustrating. Wraiths can be frustrating when you get one shot by them, and enemy jackals. Like if there's two snipers or like a sniper and a shock rifle, sometimes they just like insta kill you out of nowhere. But
Sure.
so there's a little bit inconsistency about the open world and how powerful AI is, and that like, you know, I could be blasting through brutes and I'm not like I'm perfectly fine, and then I get sniped 2 times and I'm dead and out of nowhere almost.
Sure. So you're saying that might be the game's fault, or are you saying like maybe you made a mistake during those fights and you got killed?
I'm saying that with the game being so open world, there's just a bit of, like I'm saying, like inconsistency in power level. You know what I mean? It's like either I'm fighting and having a good time, or I'm insta dead. You know what I mean? It's not, there's not like a happy medium where I'm punished for doing bad things. It's more like I just die instantly out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like it's more like it. I'll take, you know, we'll go with the master of game design, Doom Eternal, where it's like you kind of know what's happening the entire fight, and you don't get like you have to die, but like you could scan the situation in Doom Eternal much more easy than when you have so many enemies in Halo Infinite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Jackal Snipers could just be like peeking at you from you got 360 degrees to worry about, and you have like 10 brutes and you know, like grunts over here. It's hard to like calculate the situation. I understand like what you're saying, like maybe approach the battle differently, but I'm just saying there's a lot of situations where it's like maybe a Jackal wasn't looking at me, and now he turns around and insta snipes me from really far away or something like that. Like
That's true. That's fair.
So it's like you have to die to plan better, rather than like be able to change it mid battle, your strategy.
I partially agree with you, and I partially disagree with you. The fact that you have to die in order to know what happens next. I mean, when you die, do you at least know what mistake you made? Or are there times where you die and you're like, okay, what the fuck just happened? Like I had no control over that.
It's like a 50-50, you know what I mean?
Okay. All right. I feel like not always, but most of the time in this game, I feel like whenever I did die and make a mistake, and this is throughout normal, heroic, and legendary.
Yeah.
When I did die, I think I know what mistake I made for the most part. I'd say in terms of like knowing if you made a mistake or not during combat, it's not as good as Doom Eternal, but it's like it's almost there.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like
here we'll talk. You mentioned the Jackal Snipers. I want to talk about them. Normal, they're kind of a nuisance. Like I think it takes like 5 or 6 shots. I think full shield. If you have full shields upgraded, it takes 5 or 6 shots for them to kill you on normal.
Like fully upgraded.
Yeah,
they're killing me in 2 shots without upgrading my shields.
I disagree with you on the 2-shot. I mean, maybe the fire, maybe the fire rate is slower on normal.
Without upgrading my shields.
Do you want me to spoil a little bit of like what legendary is like, or do you want me to?
No, you can go ahead. It's
okay. On legendary, which by the way, when you look at the difficulty descriptions,
Jackal Snipers.
If you love Jackal Snipers, play legendary, which is hilarious. They're not as bad as Halo 2. They are definitely more fair than Halo 2. Like
sure, they have to be.
Like number one thing that makes them fair is like they have glowing helmets. When they look at me, I can see them. When you don't have full shields, they kill me in 2 shots, and the shots happen so quick that I die like just a little bit more than a quarter of a second, which is pretty bad. But when I get full shields, when I upgrade the full shields, the fastest they kill me is it takes 2 to 3 shots. But I feel like there's just enough time where if you happen to notice them glowing, there's just enough time for you to, if you have thruster and you have it all the way to invisible, there's just enough time for you to switch to it and dodge. So I feel like that was the best way to deal with the Jackal Sniper. I love that the Stalker isn't a one-hit kill. It's more like they have to hit you with a bunch of bursts.
Yeah.
And then you die like on legendary. if you just see them and you have just enough time to get out of the way or throw a drop shield down, you get hit by maybe one and half your shields are gone. Which on Legendary, I feel I like what they did with the Jackal Snipers. I forget what they were like in Halo 5 and Halo 4 though. I'm sure they were pretty bad, but
yeah, a little bit. Halo 4 is pretty bad.
Yeah,
they snipe you pretty quick.
I mean, I would say Halo ODST has the easiest Jackal Snipers on Legendary, but Halo 2, I'm gonna Halo 2 is unfair. Halo Infinite, I feel like I'm gonna argue it's fair.
Yeah,
I'll let you play it.
No, I'm saying mostly everything is fair in the game. I'm just saying like that was my only issue is that like the power level things not super balanced.
Well, let me ask.
I think that maybe is a problem with the open world aspect of it.
Sure. I'm just gonna ask, when you're in the linear missions, like when you encounter Jackal Snipers,
linear missions great.
Are there any situations where you die to a Jackal Sniper and you're like, oh, there was no way I would have known he was there?
No. Linear missions were great. They like through and through. They're well tailored. You know what I mean? I never felt like cheated in any of the in the linear missions at all.
Yeah.
Because I think there's less jank in the linear missions, which is kind of like, that's what I like about the open world as well, is there's a little bit of jank and like, you know, randomness to it. So it's a give and a take kind of thing.
All right. I'm just gonna go through, since we might be running out of time. I'm gonna go through like all.
It's only been 41 minutes.
I'm just gonna run through all the new stuff that the enemy AI does. That's different from other games that I like. Number one, I like the charging brutes that run at you and put a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
And if you don't like strategically like shoot at their legs to trip them, or if you stun them with either the grapple shot or the electric grenades, they'll completely murder you, especially on Legendary. I like the different variants of grunts. I love that there's ones with kind of like weaker shields, and you have to take those down first, and then you hit him in the head. I love the grunt mule grunt, whatever the title is, where when you kill him, he drops like a bunch of weapons on his back.
The loot goblin.
I love the fact. Well, I mean, we already know that brutes can throw suicide grunts at you.
Yeah.
They can also throw fusion coils at you, which completely. One of my my second or third death was to that, because I didn't think they were gonna do that. That was pretty cool.
Kick them at you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do you think about the hunters? Because that's where people kind of have drawn the line. It's like these hunters are hard.
They are hard, but they are super weak to the needler. So next time you fight a hunter, try shooting them with a needler.
Shoot them with the needler.
So the red ones are really, really tanky. Like it'll take you'll run out of needler ammo, but at least you don't have to aim super hard. So either the skewer or the needler. The skewer you need more aim, but.
Well, do you think they're fair? Do you think that, because it used to be like, you know, you can kind of sidestep them and then shoot them in the back. It seems like these guys almost never charge at you. They always are just shooting you in the face.
Well, yes and no.
Which seems like, even with the thruster and the grapple hook, it seems hard to get them to do that.
Sure.
Which is kind of their gimmick.
Yes and no. So when there's two of them alive, they won't charge you unless you get close. And try to melee you. When you kill one of them goes berserk, and they'll always try to charge you. Like they'll run and shoot at you, or if you get close enough, they'll run and try to melee you. You can't really it's hard to sidestep them, in my opinion. But at the very least, I do like the fact that they don't one hit melee you like in Halo 5, in Halo 4, which I'm all for. At least you can take a melee hit and keep going, even on Legendary.
Yeah. I feel like they're just, in general, they just shoot. Well, they shoot really fast too.
They do. Well, it's to
and they hurt you so bad.
Well, it's because if they didn't, and you had the grapple shot and the thruster, they would be a complete joke. So
yeah, it seems like they're a little bit too accurate though.
Yeah,
sometimes.
That's one of the negative things about having the grapple hook as an intrinsic ability is because they have to design everything to be faster in order to keep. Right. It's almost like whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, when I feel the best when I'm in a combat situation where like everything's clicking and I'm taking care of everything and I'm in the zone pretty much. It's when I'm using like more than one equipment during a match.
Yeah.
Like I'll use a grapple hook. Oh, I'll kill someone. Oh, I'm gonna throw a drop shield. Crap, I think someone's behind that rock. Threat sensor. Oh, someone's hiding back there. All right, thrust away so they don't see me. Like that's the fun zone of this map, and also using the sandbox around you.
Yeah.
And in order to account for that,
Throwing fusion coils.
yeah. Part of me wants there to be a firefight in multiplayer, but at the same time, the enemies are tuned for Master Chief when he has them on him all the time. So I'm curious how a firefight would go in multiplayer.
Well, campaign, a co-op campaign is going to happen. So.
Well, I know, but that's not firefight. I'm talking about firefight in multiplayer where you don't have the grapple hook on you all the time. You don't have the thruster on you all the time.
Oh.
It's an equipment you have to pick up. So most of the time you're not going to have it on you.
Well, why wouldn't you? If you're doing firefight, you could have it all the time.
I'm curious.
I think firefight would be fun if like maybe it randomized what equipment you had and you had to kind of play around it. You get one equipment, you get one infinite equipment.
Or just make the equipment more abundant on the map.
Or like more maybe like see what if you have like the unupgraded grapple hook? Then you aren't always being able to grapple and stuff like that. Because you can't. I don't think you can take away all. Once you're talking about AI, like you said, like you can't take those abilities away, really.
Maybe.
Well, think about Halo Reach doesn't take away your abilities. You still can sprint, and you can pick your armor ability.
That's true. I'm curious how it would work though. Like it's more of an experiment. I'm not saying for sure it would be a mess, but I'm curious what would happen if they made a firefight with the Spartans that we have in multiplayer, where they don't have intrinsic abilities. They have to.
I don't think that would work. I just don't think like enemies are. It's not tuned for that.
I mean, you could balance.
Why couldn't you have all your stuff, like unupgraded stuff?
Because I want to see how playing the game classically, where everything is on the map, you don't have the.
Well, just play the campaign. Don't use the abilities. That gives you that. There you go.
Well, you can't. Well, you can't because there are parts where you have to use the grapple hook.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you want to encounter situations and don't use the don't use your equipment and just see how it goes. I'm pretty sure it won't work.
Maybe
because enemies are just. You can't
I mean, you're also teaming up with 4 other Spartans, so maybe that would also balance it out. Yeah, it's 4 of you versus the enemies, not just one Master Chief versus the enemies. So
I think it has a lot to do with map design too.
Sure,
the cover and stuff like that. I don't know why you don't want need one equipment for everyone, but
because that just completely ruins the balance of. I mean, obviously multiplayer. If everyone spawned in a 4v4 with a grapple hook, that would be completely broken.
Why?
Because number 1, you would have to extend the maps like crazy, and number 2, like I'm chasing you down, for example, and all you would have to do is just, I'm gonna grapple away. Fuck you, I'm out.
You have a grapple too, though. Well, listen, I'm not talking about multiplayer. I'm talking about firefight.
Yeah, but
firefight's different. Firefight, you can have humongous maps. It doesn't ruin it. You could just add, more AI, more, make it balanced with more AI.
I don't know. I want to see what they do with firefight if they put it in. I do want a firefight match because I do love the enemies in this game.
I also like the mini firefight you get at the end when you're about to fight
Jaga. When he has those are great firefight maps. Like those are just 2 pre-made firefight maps.
Yeah,
all ready to go.
I was thinking maybe like they'll do a Doom Eternal thing where it's like I want maybe just like start off with like a campaign firefight sort of deal.
Yeah, maybe. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean you already have co-op campaign soon, so I
think not soon, but it's gonna be 7 months. But
that's the next thing coming. But
yeah, were there any other enemies I want to talk about? Oh, what'd you think of the skimmers?
They're all right. They're just drone fill-ins, basically.
Yes and
but
no.
But they can have more power weapons and stuff like that, which is
They can hold rocket launchers, and there's no way to know if they have one.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
At least when the brutes have one, they like kneel down and they like wait for like half a second before firing. So at least I know they have it.
Yeah, and the brutes are, I think, the ones that can carry like power weapons and stuff are marked. You know what I mean? They have different armor.
Yeah.
So,
the skimmers also throw electric grenades, which makes them a high priority. So they're drones because they're small and they fly around, but like they're
like overpowered drones.
Yeah. So on Legendary, they're a pain in the ass. So
sure. I can see that.
Have fun with that.
That's a little bit. That's another one of those things where it's like, it kind of unfair a little bit if they have a rocket launcher. That's like rocket flood territory.
What do you think of the Sentinels in this game?
Sentinels are good.
I'm
kind of disappointed that that's like the only other. I think there's only two variations.
There's majors and there's like minors.
Yeah.
The one thing, okay, I guess we're going into the individual levels at this point. I really don't like. Is it the Command Spire or the one before that? There's literally a level where it's just Sentinels and that's it.
Yeah.
And they're all weak to the Sentinel beam. It's literally just spray. I know it's a beautiful level and it's more of a story thing, but like,
sure.
God, come on, throw some Banish in there. They're working with the Banish. Put the Banish in the freaking tower.
They do, don't they? They eventually are working together by the very end, right?
I mean, the Harbinger is controlling them, right?
I'm just saying there is Sentinels and Banish fighting together at some point.
Yeah, but at that point they were. So why not just put the Banish in the freaking tower and don't maybe fight Sentinels over and over again?
I just there needed to be a little more something,
or make more Sentinel variants at least, or
more Sentinel variants, or like a different kind of.
Or give me a sneak peek. Maybe this is too ambitious, but like,
endless.
Give me a sneak peek at the Endless. Like maybe the Harbinger releases like a small portion of them, and they're in the Command Spire, and you get to know like, okay, if you don't stop her, like these things are going to be released onto the ring.
Is the Harbinger is she an Endless?
I don't think so.
What is?
Or maybe she is. I don't know.
That's why I thought she was implying like she was releasing her race or whatever. I'm not really sure. That would be kind of overpowered though, because then they could all teleport.
They all teleport. I'm hoping that's not what they are. I mean,
I was really hoping like with the reset we wouldn't have like overpowered Harbinger abilities. Like that was just a Didac thing, and we could leave that in Didac territory. But then we kind of get the Harbinger who's just like kind of doing teleporty.
Hey, at least she doesn't
teleporty.
At least she can't force choke you, and there's no like quick time. She's an actual boss, and she's not it's not just a quick time event.
Yeah, I actually liked her boss fight, so.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's talk about the boss fights now.
Yeah. Boss fights start strong, get a little weak by the end. I think
weak in terms of what?
I would in terms of individuality. Like you fight an invisible elite before Jenga, and that's kind of all Jenga is doing. You know what I mean? He's more powerful, but it's kind of a disappointing fight for me because I was hoping he would. I like the setting, and I like it's creepy, it's weird, it's like. But I was hoping every boss would bring something new to the table, and Jenga really doesn't.
I mean,
and neither does
Esrim.
Esrim that has the shield mechanic, but even that is like a little. Here's weak for me.
Here's my opinion. I love fighting the boss elites than the boss brutes. I don't like the boss brutes, other than maybe Esrim. I'll talk about him in a minute. I don't like just the sheer amount of sponginess of not just Bassus. I mean, even though I know how to choose Bassus now, but there's a part where when you find the thruster out from the thruster pack for the first time, and you fight the two brutes. Mm-hmm. On Legendary, they are so spongy that like there's no way to beat them without cheesing the hell out of them. Mm-hmm. Like I'll hit them with like 2 rounds of cinder shots, 5 rockets, and one of them's not dead. They're that spongy, and it's so fucking ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I basically had to use Sentinel Beam, a lot of Sentinel Beams to take down the shields, and then just spam like 10 needler blasts to kill one of them.
Yeah.
It's that bad. Bassus kind of falls into that, but I'll get into where the cheese comes in. I love Jaga, and I love the guy who the interrogator who runs the tower. Just because that kind of freaks, just that like fear that when you're fighting them, like shit, I don't know where they are. Sometimes maybe the threat sensor works, but like when you fight the first boss, like you don't have it powered up, so like it only illuminates him for like a second.
Yeah, and then Jenga disappears from it.
Yeah, Jaga has like super strong cloaking, so like, and you're in a dark area, so it's kind of freaky. Estrom, well, I'll get.
Well, were you disappointed that Jenga didn't bring anything else to the table?
Well, what else would you have him do? Like,
I was kind of hoping he would attack you from like he would be be able to hang on to walls and stuff like that, or attack you from like the ceiling or something like that. You know, you would have to like look around a little more.
Sure.
Okay, so you had your threat sensors fully upgraded at that point. You put down 2 threat sensors. He disappears off the threat sensors, and then he pops back up on the threat sensors.
When he attacks you, yeah.
And then you shoot him. It's not hard. You know what I mean? He's
on normal, try legendary, and you. I mean, I haven't gotten to him on legendary, but on heroic, he's a lot harder than normal. So,
do you think his AI is upgraded, or do you think it's just that he's more spongy? So the fight's going on a bit longer.
I think it's both the sponginess, and he does.
We'll take it like this. No matter what difficulty you play on, because everyone's gonna play on a different level. You gotta think about it like that. Like, how's he upgraded from the first invisible elite you fight? You know what I mean?
Well, his cloaking, and the environment that you fight him in, and Oh,
yeah, but I'm just saying it was a good fight. But I'm just disappointed that
they didn't do more.
It wasn't like every boss wasn't super individualized and brought something new to the table.
Sure.
And at that point in the game, when I'm like, "This is creepy. This is weird," I was hoping like, I don't know, what if you busted your threat sensor or something like that, or just brought something new to the table. Like Halo Infinite doesn't take a step back and ever like take anything away from you. Which might have been something interesting to do, but just something different.
I do like if he disabled your threat sensor, or if he disabled your Spartan abilities for like a few seconds.
Yeah, just a new gameplay mechanic that fits his character.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, that's why I was hoping from every new boss. But like I said, by the end, you're just you're getting a few.
At this point, I don't care. I do have a lot more stuff I want to talk about, but
yeah.
Anyway.
So that's my only gripe.
Sure.
Again, I love the fight because it's creepy and like that kind of fits his character.
Yeah. What I love about the Jaga fight kind of falls into the story category and not so much the gameplay category.
Yeah. Story great, gameplay.
Here's the major problem I have with the bosses. You can cheese 2 of them super hard to the point where like I know you can not do this and just fight them normally, but I can't help it. I'm the type of person that always tackles in a situation like the best way possible.
Yeah.
So this is how you cheese Bassus. You find like 15 fusion coils. You drop them right where he spawns during the fight. You hit him with the Sentinel beam. Take down his shields. He stands there stunned, and then you shoot the fusion coil. He's dead. And the same thing with Jaga, if you know, because he spawns in the same place every time, and he runs at you at the exact same spot. So that's how you cheese those 2, and that's why I love Estrom. I love Estrom, because you can't do that because he spawns far enough away. Well, one, there's not enough fusion coils in there. There's only maybe 5.
Yeah.
And he's spongy enough where I don't like the sponginess of him, but I do like that I can't do that, and I have to really maneuver around the room. I like it and I don't like it. Like I have to maneuver around the room, but I have to really hug corners when I do it. Like on not legendary, but heroic, and I'm sure this will be the case on legendary. I have to use the thruster fully upgraded, obviously, and you really have to hug corners. Like I can't just standing in the middle of a room, even if he's really far away from you, is suicide because the second part where he like lunges at you, and this applies to Bassus. Like
kill you.
You can't dodge that. It's completely undodgeable. It's not telegraphed. That's one of the things I don't like about Bassus and Estrom, and also the Brute Chieftain you fight in the Harbinger fight. They have like a super lunge that you can't dodge, which unlike Halo 3,
there's a couple Brute Chieftains you fight like that, I think.
Yeah, but like they weren't as spongy. On the open world, when the ones with gravity hammers, they're not as spongy, so at least like I could take them down before they could do that.
You can kill them from super far away as well.
And also you can falter them, as opposed to Bassus and Estrom. You can't really falter them that much.
Yeah.
So it turns into like a peekaboo kind of thing where like, oh, I'm over here. I'm over here. It's like cat and mouse kind of, and you're just spamming the shock rifle and the needler until he dies, basically. Which
I used the disruptor to kill Estrom. That's pretty good.
Sure.
Because the damage over time like keeps his shields down and stuff like that. That's probably a good tactic for any boss, is to have the disruptor to keep their shields down.
Sure. Again, on Legendary, I'm not sure how much they got. A lot more health than on normal, so you'll have to let me know using that strategy how it goes. All right, so we went to. I think that's all the gameplay we can talk about, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything else we?
The Sentinel boss.
Yeah, that sucked. That
you don't like that?
Like he looks cool, but like it's just lame. Like, oh, I hide behind a pillar, throw a drop wall down, shoot the things off with the Sentinel beam, rinse, repeat. Oh, he spawned a couple Sentinels. All right, kill the Sentinels first. All right. I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool that he lowers your cover if you stay there for too long, but he doesn't do it frequent enough to where like I feel threatened.
Mm-hmm.
Like even
maybe not hard enough. Is that what you're saying? The high fight's maybe not hard.
He
enough.
needs to be more mobile. Like he needs to be way
really slow.
He needs to be way faster than that. Like to the point where he kind of
Okay.
He doesn't force. Here's what makes a good fight for me. In this game, when a game makes me use more than one or two abilities, like if I'm using threat sensor, grapple, thruster, like if I'm using multiple things or even multiple sandbox things in a fight, like that, those are the best fights, whether boss or regular fight. That fight is just. I don't even have to use the drop wall. I could just peekaboo him.
Yeah,
but
yeah, you can peekaboo him around the corner.
But it's just drop wall, shoot. Always getting too close. I'll just casually sprint over to the next cover, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, I think my problem is that they didn't change it at all the second time you fight him.
They did change the cover. He doesn't destroy cover in the first fight. He does destroy in the second fight. So that's
they could have done again. That's one of those things like they just didn't change enough to make it like special. You know what I mean? The second time around, he should be like mad and be shooting crazy shit at you.
I mean, is it just me or does he seem like a replacement for the Enforcer from Halo 2?
A little bit. I mean, the Enforcer was. I think the Enforcer was more imposing than he is.
Yeah, like.
The Enforcer is like
he's way up there, and
he's got the force shields, and he shoots these things at you from far away. And
I wish they would have done that with him, and make it a vehicle fight.
Instead, he's like he reminds me more of the Prophet of Regret, where he's just around his wheelchair, like. I mean,
even Regret is more threatening because number one, he has honor guard all over the place,
yeah,
and number two, he teleports, so he actually is more mobile than the Monitor is. I need some water.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, story-wise and his look and the music, I love that.
Yeah.
I wish they.
I don't like that later in the story. He's just like, oh, I'll help you now. I thought you were gonna release, the Endless or whatever.
If I knew what I guess we're going into story territory now. If I knew what the Endless was, and what would happen if they were released.
I can't believe you're drinking out of that shot glass. Get away. If you're going to drink water, get a glass. No one takes a shot of water. If you knew what the Endless was, that's probably my biggest gripe with the game is, we're supposed to just believe this is a huge imposing threat, but we have no nothing to back it up except the Forerunners buried it pretty deep, which is kind of scary and imposing. But
and they say they're worse than the Flood, and they say that, but we don't know.
We get nothing. We get literally nothing. We get the Harbinger, and that's about it. But we don't even know if the Harbinger's an Endless or not.
Sure.
And I really hope that the Endless is not the Harbinger.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Because
I don't like
that kind of reminds me of Prometheans.
Yeah. Well, actually, I have one more gameplay thing to kind of complain about or speculate about. So the Flood is obviously not going to be in the game. Most likely, maybe or maybe not, because they kind of downplayed them compared to the Endless. Because like
they're trying to make the Endless the new
bad. When this game have benefited from having the Flood in it? Do you think?
I
gameplay wise, not story, but wouldn't it be cool if like maybe halfway or at the 70% mark? I mean, obviously this wouldn't fit into the story, but like gameplay wise, the Flood are released. It's completely dark, and there's flood spores everywhere, and you explore the open world, but there's Flood running around, and it's kind of like creepy, and there's almost no save points other than like maybe a couple spots.
Maybe that's a big step though. I mean, that's a completely different game at that point.
And also they fight differently. Like I guess here's another gameplay complaint. When you spawn snipers and BRs all the time at your FOBs, like that's just how you deal with most of the marine and bounty fights, where you hide on top of a mountain and you shoot them with a sniper until they die. And there's very very rarely anything that stops you from doing that. Yeah. Other than like maybe what if the Flood were able to like just jump up there and get you if you tried doing that. And also the sniper wasn't very effective against them like they were in Halo 1.
I mean, it's still this does not solve the open world is more the problem there than, and like I think if you want to fix those fights, you can't just throw the Flood in there. It's more like you should fix the encounter. You know what I mean? Like wholesale. Don't just like throw Flood in there and.
Well, no, I'm just saying just adding a new enemy faction just to change up the gameplay.
Yeah.
Because like that's the role
they sorely needs that by the end of it. It like you said, the Sentinels like they don't do much for me.
They're support enemies.
They look great.
They're support enemies. That's it.
Really well, but like Halo is all about that 3 faction.
Yeah, this game desperately needs another faction. Like.
Yeah, it needed the Endless. We didn't get the Endless.
Yeah, and I really hope the Endless are good.
Yeah, and the Flood would have been a good addition. Like, I don't know if they necessarily should have been in the open world, because I really enjoyed the open world how it is.
Sure.
And then at that point it'd be a different game. Like, I would really enjoy that game, but just throwing them into the current Halo Infinite, maybe. Well, not. Yeah, but maybe in like at the end, like, because I like how the end, you do the 2 beginning missions, and then at the end you do a lot of linear missions as well. I really like that, so you get that like Halo feel of playing like just a normal Halo game. So that would have been the time to throw in, Harbinger, release the Flood, trying to really stop you at the end or something like that, like just to spice up the gameplay at the end.
Yeah, maybe there will be a DLC where they appear, but. We'll see.
I mean, there's a lot of hearkening to the Flood.
Yeah, the problem with the Flood is that, like, once they're released, you kind of have to destroy the ring at that point. Like, you can't really stop them without doing that.
I mean, what if you're fighting them in a contained way? I mean, you could say the same thing with Endless, though.
Sure. Well, I mean, it depends how the Endless fight. Like, are they going to be, like, intelligent, like, beings? Because, like, Aatrox feels like he can control them, so, like... And he's fought the Flood, so...
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like the Endless...
I don't know. Hidden Experience has a video about what he thinks is going to happen.
Sure.
The Endless apparently can't be killed. They don't have a nervous system, so they aren't killed by a ring firing, and they also can't be infected by the Flood. So they might be controlling the Flood.
Oh, no.
They might be one to release the Flood.
Aren't the Prometheans the exact same thing?
Yes and no.
Oh,
because
no.
the Prometheans, are like a failed experiment almost. I don't know if they have like conscious.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're conscious.
but they're robots and they can't be infected by the flood.
Sure.
That's just going to be Prometheans again. Oh no.
It could be. It could be. I really don't know. Like, what else do you do? I mean, the Harbinger was a bit different. She was like a squid thing.
I do want something different, but I don't want something stupid at the same time. So
Listen, I honestly don't trust 343 making new enemy types, which is kind of sad because I don't know. Do you like the Harbinger? Do you like how she looks?
I like her.
Do you think it fits in the universe? What about the skimmers? Do you like how the skimmers look and
I like fit? I like the skimmers. I don't like how bullshit they are on Legendary.
Sure,
but
I mean like in their character design and.
No, I like them. They're not over designed like everything was in Halo 4,
Sure.
where there's a simplicity to them, and even the Harbinger like has a simplicity to her.
Yeah, so maybe there's hope.
One more gameplay thing I wanted to mention. I swear this is the last one.
Okay.
The stealth in this game sucks.
Stealth in the game sucks. It needs good stealth.
Literally, like gone are the days where I could walk into a room. There's like 5 grunts asleep. You can't just tap all of them out. If you tap one out in this game, they all wake up.
Yeah.
And also, when I'm up in a mountain and I snipe one enemy and they're not aware of my presence, once I shoot one of them, they all know where I am. Like that kind of sucks.
Yeah. Again, that's one of the things. Like, the gameplay it feels like an old Halo game. Like,
even in old Halo games, like they wouldn't know where you were if you tried that.
Yeah. It's hard because this game is open world and there's not a ton of cover because you have the grab hug. There's not a ton of cover to hide around and stuff like that. Like, the encounters are kind of open, so I don't have a lot of experience with this stealth.
Are you saying that this game would be a complete joke if the stealth was good? Like
No. What I'm saying is, that the way the game is set up more simplistically, you know what I mean? Like, that I haven't even been able to try out the stealth really. It would have been like probably in the
I mean, you've seen the basics though. You see a sleeping grunt.
Sure.
You see a bunch of sleeping grunts,
and
your instinct is tap them all out.
Sure.
Nope, tap one out and they all wake up. Like,
I mean, I wish it was even better than that, where you could like, because in multiplayer they have like different barrel ends now. I would love it if you could like silence your BR or something like that.
Sure.
Especially like, I'm a little disappointed with the variants of the UNSC weapons, how they're just kind of all power upgrades or worse.
Or they're worse. Yeah, I think the sniper rifle is worse.
The sniper rifle is terrible, and also a lot of the advanced like variants and stuff like this. The bouncing cinder shot, like, why is that good?
Even the Ravager or
the bouncing is the Ravager the bouncing one, or is the cinder shot the extra? The cinder shot's okay.
Cinder shot,
but the Ravager is awful. That bouncing, the extra bounce on it.
I'm disappointed that. So what's cool is the Sentinel beam and the Pulse carbine are terrible in multiplayer.
But they're great.
They're great in campaign. The Ravager is bad in both of them, in my opinion. Even though the Ravager is so cool, though. Like, I love what it is in concept.
Yeah.
But the problem is, like, if you buffed it, like, it would just make the enemies on Legendary more difficult. So you also
you use it in a completely different way. They shoot it up in the air like
when they're far away. Yeah, they'll. Yeah, anything that arcs, they'll lob it.
Yeah. I don't know. The Ravager needs something.
Yeah, it does. It's so cool. It needs a little
pizzazz. Something. Needs an upgrade.
Increase the damage of the alt fire is the only thing I could think of, because the enemies don't use the alt fire. Like, in both I guess we're talking about multiplayer now, so maybe we should pull that off, but.
Even like, you don't even really use the alt fire in campaign all that much.
I mean, I do. Like, it's before I knew the Needler trick, I did use it on the Hunters, because when the Hunters wouldn't move around that much.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much damage it was doing. Does it do a lot of damage to them? Because I was doing it, and it doesn't seem to be doing a lot of damage to them.
Compared to the Needler, no.
Or anything.
I don't know. I'd have to experiment with it.
I mean, I think before you told me about, I mean, explosives seem to be the most, like, besides the Needler trick that you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the Needler, you don't even have to aim for the weak points. You could just shoot it at them, and they blow up.
Nice.
So yeah, this is the first hunters where this is the first game where the Needler is like, no, the brutes are weak to them in Halo 2, but I don't know, the Needler is really good in this game. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think we're done with gameplay. Let's go on to story, and
we already talked about story at that.
Kind of, but
you're talk about lovey-dovey Cortana stuff.
That I'm talking about everything. Like
yeah. But that's kind of the part we haven't really talked about is the.
Let's start from the beginning.
Because most of the game is lovey-dovey Cortana stuff. Let's be and like making friends with the weapon and the pilot.
Sure. Let's start from the beginning. How do you feel about the opening and the first cutscene and
we've known
your opinion
for a long time.
Your opinion on the Banished. Let's end the whole like
reset.
It's not really. It's a reset and it's not. But what's your opinion on everything? The opening cutscene, how everything's set up.
I really like that. I really like that opening Banished ship. You know, about the whole reset thing. There are things I wish I got to play through in the interim, but I hope we get like little offshoots of that. Because I don't think I would want to play as the Master Chief in between. Like, this is a good time to play as the Master Chief. Like, I don't think I would want to play anything Master Chief related in between Halo 5 and this game. Like, I feel like it's a good pickup for Master Chief, but is stuff in between that I would like to like experience.
I'm pretty sure
characters I would like to catch up on because I feel a little cheated about like the Arbiter and like, you know, there's a lot of mysteries that picking up Chief right here. You know, you feel a little cheated after you do Halo 5 Guardians, and then you're just here, complete reset. You know what I mean? It's like I played through all this. It almost like it feels like both those games are a bit meaningless, like because of this game. You know what I mean?
Yes and no.
I like where this game picks up for Master Chief, but I do feel a little. I need to know more about other characters I know and love. You know what I mean? I like Chief I like that Chief's alone, but you know, I feel a little cheated about all the other characters.
Sure.
Because there's such a rich cast.
Sure, I can
even Spartan Locke, he needs like I like how this game redeems a lot of things for Halo, but I feel like other things needed redeeming as well that are absent.
I'll talk about my opinion. I love the opening cutscene. I do love I was wondering before Halo Infinite came out, like when I was doing Halo Wars, and there's the part where Aatrox beats the crap out of the Spartans at the beginning. Mm-hmm. I was thinking like, oh man, who would win in a fight, Halo, Master Chief or Aatrox? Wouldn't that be such an awesome boss fight? Like, oh man, I hope Master Chief, you get to fight Aatrox as Master Chief, and that's just so cool. Like he just completely mops the floor with him at the beginning. Yeah. Like, so I kind of
that cutscene is great.
I was wondering if Aatrox was going to be in the game at all. Like in the trailers, they were alluding to that he was dead or gone or whatever, and I just love that the game's just like here he is right there.
Yep.
Fuck yeah! I love that.
That beginning is awesome.
I love the underdog aspect of the game, of the story, where it's been 6 months, everyone's pretty much defeated, and there's only like little bits of Marines just hiding in caves and stuff.
Yeah.
And Chief is floating in space for 6 months. It's kind of weird. I mean, there is a plot hole where it's like, okay, how does Chief not starve to death out in space? But aside from that,
well, there's cryo sleep in this
suit. I'm assuming that
universe, and his suit like can slow his vital. His suit has a lot of control over his body and his bodily functions and stuff like that. Like, I'm pretty sure. I don't even know if he shits. I think that's.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, what if he had to take a shit like during that fight? Like, is he just stuck out in space, constipated or something?
Well,
or?
I just think he's so intertwined with the suit. I don't even know if they have to eat. I think they get their energy from this. I'm not really sure.
You think he's like Superman? His suit absorbs sunlight and gives him.
He's not Superman, but I'm just saying that I think the suit does a lot more than. It has a lot of functionality that we aren't aware of. That isn't really a plot hole for me. It's more like that tech is just way out of my league of understanding.
It doesn't bother me. It's just kind of like the nitpicky part of myself kind of like brings that up in my head. Like, what? How the fuck did he do that? Whatever. It's really cool.
I mean, he falls out of. Halo 3 falls from space to the ground.
I mean, that's him fall. That's him surviving a fall. I'm talking about like surviving for 6 months with no resources.
They're pretty close for me. Falling from outer space and surviving for 6 months in outer space is like in a self-contained suit.
I'll buy it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna complain about it too much.
It's sci-fi, my friend.
Anything is possible. I love the Banished completely replacing the Prometheans. They're freaking awesome, and I love the intro level where it's literally just how. I love how the Banished just worship Aatrox. Like, they hate the Prophets and their religion, but ironically, they
worship Aatrox.
They worship Aatrox, which is so cool.
Yeah.
I love how and I love Estrom's like speech going on through the ship as you're running through it with like Aatrox holograms all over the place. Like, if you were new to Halo and you're like one of those people that doesn't memorize the names of like the factions and stuff, like they make sure you know that this is the Banished.
Yeah,
we are the Banished. I love the art style. I love the fact that these they are the Covenant, but they're not in terms of like gameplay and stuff.
They're just like culture. They're like Hell Covenant.
They're Hell Covenant. I love the fact that they use UNSC weapons when they. Like, for example, when you're in the ship, you walk into a room and they're literally studying the assault rifle. Yeah. And that's so freaking cool.
Yep.
And I love that they're brutes. They compose of brutes, but they're more they have more tech on them pretty much. Like, they steal stuff and they add it to their armor. Like, it looks like that.
They're scavengers, and they're warmongers more or less, and they just take whatever they can. Yeah,
and I love how it's a return to form in terms of art style, in terms of the grunts and the elites. But I do love the little quirks that make them different from the Covenant. Like, I know you don't like I know that you don't like the grunts. Like we've had
their
this conversation.
But
I love the grunts.
I like what the grunts are saying. I just don't like their voices necessarily.
I like their voices just because it's different from the Covenant in terms of like they're in the Covenant. They're overzealous, like cute babies like that kind of panic and are like they're always scared of you.
Yeah.
But in the Banished, like they're upgraded in terms of like. I wouldn't say courage, but they're more. They taunt you. They're the
I'm just saying that it like the pitch in grunts that shouldn't sound different just because they're because they're like Banished grunts. I like their new mentality and nature. But I'm just saying,
I've listened. There is a difference. I did listen to it.
The old grunts are a little more high pitched, and they have some sort of like a little more something to their voice that makes them a little more alien like.
Sure,
this just sound like dudes. Like the grunts in this game just kind of sound like dudes doing a grunt voice.
Sure, I still like it though, just because like what makes them different and so cool in the Banished is. When I'm fighting them, it feels like I'm fighting like the 12-year-old boys on Xbox chat that are like shit talking you, and when you kill one, I love when they scream. Like obviously I can't imitate it, but like it's like an obnoxious, like really loud scream when you kill them.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I think in the old Halo games they would just go, ugh, and
Now they
that's it.
scream.
I love the screams, and I love when their methane tanks blow up.
Yeah, I mean that's all that's not new stuff, but
It's not new stuff, but like I love how over the top it is, and
yeah, grunts have always been that way, like that funny kill enemy.
yeah, but they never taunted you as much as in the Banished. Like when you hide,
right.
they're like, "Oh, he's hiding. Oh, are you a baby? Come out, Spartan. I'm gonna kill you." And then when they turn and run when you kill everyone, which is pretty funny.
Yeah. No, they're pretty. They're not like afraid to die. I think the one grunt says like, "Quit wasting your time and kill me already," or something like that. Like they're not afraid to die.
God, and I also love the grunt on the telecoms.
Yeah.
I always listen to like 3 things he has to say before I destroy it for Valor.
Yeah. Oh no, I always listen if I get close enough. I'm always listening. I love how at the end of the game, like when you capture the FOBs, he's like, "The UNSC capture all the FOBs. We are totally screwed."
When you have I would have been your daddy skull on. His dialogue gets really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'll have to try that out.
Yeah, you'll have to try that. The elites, I love the fact that they're not fat anymore. They look so freaking cool.
Like Reach
again,
elites.
especially the bosses. Jagal looks so freaking cool. The guy that runs the tower is really cool.
Yeah.
That's all I got. All I can say. Like
I love that a lot. They're back to the really, really ornate style of stylings.
They have like what do you call it, like prestige to them, like I don't know, they hold themselves up like they talk like they're like epic warriors or something, like when they kill you they're like, "Your death is one step to my glory." Like I love that attitude about them, as opposed to like in Halo 4 and 5 they're just fat. They're basically brutes in Halo 4 and 5.
They're dinosaurs.
Yeah. And I do love the Jackals when they also taunt you.
Yeah, they can melee you now too.
Yeah, it's very, and the grunts can melee you too. But it's really
very
small.
weak, yeah.
It's cute, so it's like, you know what, I like it.
And the skirmishers are so much more manageable than Reach. They're a lot slower.
Yeah, and they taunt you. They taunt you too, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I love the Banished, and I hate the Prometheans. I hope the Prometheans never come back. They probably will. So who am I kidding?
What if like the Banished took on? Look, this is where I thought they were going. I thought the Banished were going to become more Forerunner like. They would find like Forerunner armor and stuff like that and be able to.
I mean, they kind of do that. They steal Sentinel beams and
sure, but I was thinking like in their tech. You know what I mean? Become a little Promethean like. You know what I mean? It's still the Banished, but they have different abilities. You know what I mean?
I'd be fine with that. Just make it balanced and fair.
Yeah.
Don't make knights that can teleport and their shields regenerate so fast that like it's almost impossible to kill them without spamming them with precision weapons.
I thought that maybe that's what the Endless was. Like, we see all these Silexes. Like, what if there was like a half Sentinel, half like different races army? You know what I mean? Like, so there's like humans, but they're kind of, you know who the Borg are from Star Trek?
Yeah.
So they're kind of Borg like.
I was thinking they were like shadow people. Like, I don't know. This is me. This is my brain just imagining what they are.
Shadow people.
I don't know. I'm trying to imagine something worse than the Flood, and I'm just imagining like shadow. Are they creatures, or I'm debating on whether they're creatures or are they not robots, but like beings that are like, I guess the Flood are sentient, but like sentient to the point where like, I mean, they don't infect people, but they murder people, but they're organized and they can communicate with like the Banished, and obviously the Flood can't.
Yeah, I think they're intelligent. I think that's why they're.
I shouldn't say
because they are intelligent.
I shouldn't say intelligent compared to the Flood, because the Flood are intelligent because they can fly ships. They basically steal people's knowledge when they infect them.
They're the flood is a disease. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not really. The individual parts aren't smart.
Sure.
You're talking about the individual is smart. When in the flood, it's like, again, it's like a flood. It like overwhelms you, and then they regroup. It's like your fingers. Like one finger's not smart, but all of them together can grab something.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. But for what it is, I love the Banished. I don't know what the endless are going to be. We'll see when the DLC comes out.
I don't know if it's DLC or if it's just a continuation.
Expansion.
Yeah.
I'm calling it DLC because you're downloading extra content. So
Sure.
Atrox is alive. I'm curious on how he survived getting blown up by Cortana, but
yeah,
we'll see. Maybe he was dead and he was brought back to life by the Silexes. I don't know. We'll see.
Ooh. Is he a zombie?
Or like, I don't know, maybe a Silex absorbed his DNA and maybe they made a copy of him or something. I don't know. Because the Silexes are full of DNA of life forms.
Well, I pretty much knew that Ajax was alive because they can't just kill him off screen.
I know, but like you also need to explain how he survived getting blown up because I thought that's what happened.
Yeah, I like how you've avoided the Chief and Cortana.
I know. I'm starting from the beginning. I'm starting with everything that. Okay.
Now you jump to the end. That's what I'm saying. You're skipping all the meat and potatoes.
Let me get to Cortana. Okay, so one of the negative things about Halo 5 that I was afraid of that was going to taint this story, and it had to, and it did, is Cortana turning evil, and they had to address that.
Yeah.
This game. So unfortunately, whatever could have happened with this story without that. We have to address it. We can't just pretend Halo 5 didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the weapon. I love the weapon. Just in terms of like her character. Now what happens later, I will discuss that, but
yeah.
I like that she's naive. We're starting from square one. She's a completely new Cortana with no baggage basically. I love the fact that we don't have to deal with a completely rampant, whiny Cortana anymore.
Yeah.
I love the fact that
she's hopeful.
I like my AI. I like my AI being feminine, and she's a very feminine AI, and she's not like Butler or the stupid, annoying, what's the other guy in multiplayer that's like constantly telling you stuff. I don't know. That's just me.
Fret.
You fret. I don't know. That's just me personally.
Those are dumb AI. So
those are dumb AI.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know. Chief calls the shots. She's just helping. She's just there helping him. So
yeah.
Overall, I like her, and I am excited to see what she does in future games. Now, here, what do you think of the weapon? Aside from what happens after the 70% mark of the game, what do you think of the weapon?
She's fun. I'm indifferent on the weapon.
Yeah,
I'm not like yay weapon, but I'm not like weapon. You know, I'm like this is serviceable, and like Chief does need a foil. You know what I mean? She's kind of Chief's foil.
I like that she has some of the perkiness that Cortana had. Like that she has like cool like comebacks. Like Chief's like, "Is there a problem?" And she's like, "Nope." Like when she stops like something from happening or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, I think she fits. I think the AI needs to fit the setting and the message of the game, and I feel like she does that. Like Halo Infinite's supposed to be very hopeful, so she's a hopeful AI, and and Cortana was really sure of everything. You know, she's very what do you call it? Confident, yeah.
Sure. I mean, the weapon is confident too, but like she's naive. I would say naive, which I like.
Like I said, like hopeful. Like she's just learning, but she's like, she sees these things as like she sees the Banished as big monkeys.
I know. That's kind of adorable, and I like it.
Sure. Yeah. Like I said, fits the setting, fits the game. So.
Okay, let's talk about the pilot. What did you think of the pilot?
Pilot's a little annoying.
Echo 216. Fernando.
They're really trying to. contrast the chief being a machine to the pilot's got he makes mistakes and stuff like that, and he's human. So I think if I've learned anything, it's that big superhero buff dude needs like a human to kind of be the who's the guy in Doom Eternal, the intern.
Yeah,
to
contrast him.
Every game needs an intern just to kind of say the things we're thinking.
Sure. I like the pilot, and I do think he does get annoying at some points. Yeah. But I do realize he does serve a purpose in the narrative.
Yeah.
Obviously saving Chief, but aside from that,
yeah. I don't know if he's worth attacking Esherim head on to save. I don't know. I don't know if I fully believe Chief making that decision as a Spartan. That yes, the pilot is. I'm gonna charge straight in and with almost no plan.
I can buy it. One, because he serves a purpose. Without him, you can't fast travel or get weapons and stuff. But okay,
you can't fast travel.
I guess that's the cynical part of me. The other part is Chief would, if it was any Marine or Spartan, I think he would, because I think whether or not he was attached to the pilot or not, or I don't know, if it was Griffin, I think he would do it. If it was any other UNSC human, I think he would have. I don't think.
Maybe I don't know where he's ever. I don't know where he's ever displayed that in another Halo game where he just cares deeply about every human life. You know what I mean?
Well, there's never an opportunity to show that in the old games.
They basically go to save Captain Keys to get something from him. You know what I mean?
Well, they don't know he's dead.
Well, they don't know he's dead, but they're not necessarily going to save him. They need the chip in his brain, basically.
Well,
Chief is a weapon for war. I think this is a new aspect of Chief that he's wants to save every human life. You know what I mean? I can't necessarily say that in Halo 1. Well, if the pilot got captured, that Chief would go after him.
Let's say worst case scenario, you're right, and he's a complete machine in Halo 1, 2, and 3, and if a Marine was in trouble, he would be like, I don't give a shit, you could die, or whatever.
He wouldn't be like that. He would just be more calculated and say, is this, if we're gonna win the war, is this the best thing to do? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So maybe the pilot.
Well, maybe
he thinks the pilot serves a bigger purpose than he leads on, you know what I mean, in his calculated brain.
Well, I guess if we're doing calculations, I guess you technically do need him because he's the only pilot that you have.
Chief's the pilot, though.
Yeah, but and
there's a million Marines.
There's a million.
I'm sure there's one of them's a pilot.
God, I guess you're right. But let's say
he's the only one with a beard.
That's true.
He's doing it for saving the beard.
If we're counting 4 and 5 as part of the story and they're not writing it off, maybe you can think of it as a character arc for Chief. He goes from being uncaring to okay, he actually cares about this guy. Right. And also this guy saved his life twice in the game, so I guess he kind of owes him at that point. If someone saved my life twice, I think I probably should try to save him.
I think it's the Cortana Chief arc. You know what I mean?
Well, we're getting to that. Let's. Well, no,
that's what I'm saying is that him saving the pilot is kind of coming to terms with Cortana being gone, because Chief was a machine, and then over time started caring. Chief and Cortana started caring for each other. And some of that might be Cortana's rampancy and being partly Dr. Halsey, who loves Chief.
Yeah.
I think secretly loves Chief and he was her favorite Spartan.
Sure.
By far.
Back to the pilot. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
I love the fact that number one, he's I love the fact that he's kind of a tragic character. That I love the fact that he has a family back home and he's stuck in space for 6 months, and he hasn't seen his family in 6 months. I love that scene, and I also love how that ties into the Jigga fight, like how it adds to the creepiness of it.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I do love that I know he's not a charismatic character to the point where like I love and I think he's cool like Johnson.
Yeah.
But he has a lot more life and energy than any character in freaking Halo 5, so that's what I know. Obviously, a lot of my
Lasky.
No, Lasky wasn't good in Halo 5. He was in Halo 4 he was, in Halo 5 he was boring as shit.
Yeah, he didn't really have a lot.
I will say in the audio logs, Lasky is pretty cool in Halo Infinite, but Halo 5, no, he was not. Not even close. Like he basically just gets handed some paperwork from Palmer and that's pretty much it. And he runs away from Cortana and that's it. But anyway,
no Sarah Palmer in this game, I don't think. Was she in any of the audio logs?
Nope, I think she's dead. Yay! No, she's probably alive on the ring somewhere. But anyway,
yeah, she's not in the audio logs. That means she's alive.
Maybe.
Everyone in the audio logs is dead for sure.
Sure. Except for Lasky, I don't know if he's dead or not. So.
Oh yeah, they gotta keep Lasky alive. He's like one of the only good characters that came out.
God, I was hoping I would run across him like in my travels or something. You would see him locked up, and wouldn't that be so cool if you.
I was hoping he'd come across at least like one or two characters.
I was hoping
that like we could fight alongside, like for a mission, fight alongside.
I was hoping just for one mission. I don't want this to be. Yeah. I was hoping like maybe
not the Lasky and Chief show. We got the pilot now.
Well, not just that, but like, what if the Arbiter showed up for like one side mission? You find him and he's rescuing his fellow elites from something, and you're gonna help him rescue his elites, and he's gonna escape and run away because he doesn't want any part of this.
Arbiter's not in the Infinity, so.
Well, wait, was he?
I guess he could have been.
He could have been because they were running away from Cortana at the end of Halo 5, and at the very end they run to the camp where the Arbiter is. Like, why wouldn't the Arbiter run with them?
No, they weren't running. They didn't run to the Arbiter camp. They were helping him win a war, and then he won the war, and then they went. I think he stayed on St. Helios.
Sure, but like Cortana was basically ruling the galaxy at that point, so that would have affected him, and maybe he should team up with the UNSC.
Yeah, It's still not clear what the plan was for the Infinite. I mean, obviously it was to get the weapon onto the ring, but Arbiter's involvement, unclear. I think the Arbiter needs his own game, honestly.
I mean, he did with Halo 2, but he
needs a new game, like a real just Arbiter game or DLC.
Maybe
just Arbiter.
Well, we'll see.
He's such an interesting character.
All I'm saying is like Lasky and the Arbiter or some other character. I wish that would have been cool if you ran across them in the campaign.
What if there's a Lasky Arbiter game?
Maybe.
Something. Or
that's a bit off topic.
Like I'm saying, I hope that they do kind of like not Spartan Ops, but like Spartan stories where you get to like play other Spartans and like witness this event through their eyes or other things in between that are.
I have a feeling that's going to happen. That's probably going to happen. I think
it's got to be, right. They're setting it up so hard for the game to just. I mean, the game is so samey, but like you look at the multiplayer levels and they're like incredible and all like so diverse and stuff. I would love to be like a Marine in New Mombasa, like fighting the Banished or something like that. That would be incredible.
Well, when they add firefight to multiplayer, I have a feeling that's going to happen. So,
well, maybe not firefight, but like I said, like little story missions, little stories.
Sure. Anyway, back to the pilot, and we gotta wrap this up. Holy crap!
Yeah, it's only almost 1:00 in the morning.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll sum up the pilot really quickly. I like the role he plays in the story. I love some of the depressing aspects of it. I do like the fact that he's not a Marine. I love the fact that he just stole a Pelican and just ran off, and he just happens to be working with the Master Chief after 6 months. Yeah. I love the irony of that. I don't like the fact that like he volunteered for the UNSC. I wish he would have been drafted. Like I wish he was just completely just some nobody, and he just doesn't want to be there. Like I would have bought him I would have bought the whininess a bit more if that was the case. Because like if
he just completely had
like I was stolen away from my family and I'm freaking stuck out here because of you assholes, and that would have been more that would have justified his anger with Chief a lot more. Because like I'd be pissed off at the army if I was drafted and I was stuck out in space for 6 months.
Well, that would have been a good like it's late. A good like counterpoint to Chief, because Chief was stolen from his family and now worships the UNSC, where the pilot would be like stolen from his family and be completely against the UNSC.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That would be great.
That would be great. If they weren't going to do that, I wish they would have toned down the whining. I hate to call it whininess, but at a certain point, it does become whiny. Because like after that touching talk they have at the anti-aircraft, when when they're on their knees and they're talking. After that scene, I wish he would shut up about it, because like you already had your talk. Let's get back to work, please.
Yeah.
So that leads us into the Cortana story.
Yeah.
After the 70% mark. Let me hear your opinion, and then I'll bring up mine. What is your opinion on?
It's almost good, but like the lovey-dovey, this is for Chief, I'm becoming unrampant now and blowing up the ring for you, sweet baby boy. Like, that doesn't work for me at all. And that's stupid, and I don't know if Cortana would do that. I'm okay that she like has a relationship with Chief and cares for him a lot, and that like a part of her motives are due to that relationship, but like just to make the whole crux of the game about that, it's becoming less of, because I picture like Halo 1, 2, 3 as a war story almost.
Yeah.
And it's becoming less about that and becoming more like nonsensical. You know what I mean?
They're focusing on, like, there was a Chief and Cortana relationship in the old games, but the Reclaimer saga is way too focused on that, I feel like.
Right, it's the crux of the story instead of a point in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I wanted to get back to the Banished story plot so badly during that part. But unfortunately, for better or for worse, we had to deal with that because unfortunately Halo 5 brought Cortana back. They had to do that.
Well, Cortana didn't have to be like
evil, yeah, well, but unfortunately Halo 5
not evil, but like her defeat didn't have to be so rooted in this is for you, Chief, and now I'm this is all for you, basically. You know what I mean? It's a little
sure.
It like now it does feel like it feels hokey. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That like now we're fighting the Banished, and it turns out like it's still all about Chief in the end. Like all this cosmic galactic stuff, and it all still just comes back to this one dude.
I agree.
It used to be like Chief's a 1 in a million super soldier.
Chief is just there witnessing all this awesome stuff.
He's a consequential hero. He's not supposed to be the crux of the story. He's just like a guy just doing his job, basically.
Sure.
And now like the whole universe is feeling the repercussions of Chief and Cortana. Like that.
Sure.
That's rubbing me the wrong way.
I agree. Now I do appreciate. Now I do agree that I do like the UNSC either like looking up to him or the Banished or the Covenant fearing him, because at this point like he's kind of earned it.
He is kind of like a consequential god, yeah. But like again, like the way the Infinity treats him, like when he comes back and stuff like that, he's just some dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they treat him like shit in Halo 4, which I don't like. But I mean, I guess it kind of.
Well, they think they're all new hot shit, and I actually like that they don't treat him that well, and that they just think that he's old tech. But then, like, he proves them wrong. You know what I mean?
I would agree with you, but he did save the universe like twice. So, like, even if he was an old timer, like, why would you not give that guy just the most utter respect? It's like if George Washington like came back to life, like, would you not show him like at least a little bit of respect? I don't know, like something. I don't know. Well, anyway, that's kind of getting up back to Cortana.
Yeah. Plus, we know a lot more than they probably do. You know what I mean? Like, maybe the stories they hear they don't believe and stuff like that.
I don't know,
or that they think that all Spartans are capable of what he did. He was just in the right place at the right time. You know what I mean? There's a lot of
he still did it. I mean, Lord Hood is still obviously Lord Hood is still alive. If you didn't notice in the holograms in this time period, so obviously Lord Hood would have vouched for him at that point. Like, this guy's a hero, and without him, we would have fucking died. But anyway,
well, listen, different. I'm fine with that point that they just treat him like some normal dude, even if he is like the savior of humanity or whatever. It's very in the nature of, Marines and stuff like that, and like this whole new era of Spartans to just think like that he did save the world, but your time has passed in where the new gang that's about to like, take on your
okay.
your achievements and do better.
Okay, so anyway, back to man, we keep sidetracking so much.
Halo's so rich.
I know.
And so controversial at the same time.
I'm going to talk about the good things of what I liked, but not that I liked, but I know that it's necessary.
Yeah.
So a good story has a theme to it.
Uh-huh.
Like Reach is about loss, pretty much, sacrifice. Halo Combat Evolved is about discovery, and it's discovery and exploration, and fighting against all odds, even though it's like 1 to a million and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Halo 2 and 3 kind of also fall into that a little bit. Halo 5 was a really bad story because there is no theme to it, like, at all. I don't like.
No.
The theme of Halo Infinite is, and unfortunately, for better or for worse, because of Halo 5, the theme of Halo Infinite is regret. Because and that's why the pilot is whiny, and that's why Cortana. Well, I would change some things about it, but the reason why she kind of does a 180 and helps Chief is because they had her regret her decisions. Chief regrets not being able to fend off Atriox or protect Cortana. I think the weapon has regrets at certain points of the game about like
trusting Chief.
Yeah. Chief regrets not trusting the weapon just because, I mean, for good reason, because Cortana went rampant and he's worried about her going rampant. So all the whiny stuff, like, I don't want to call it a justification, but at least, like, I know why it's there. I understand the purpose of why these whiny things happen.
I would say the theme is more moving on than regret, because we start with regret and we slowly move on. And hopefulness, hopefulness and moving on.
That's the follow up, but like you have to start with regret before you get there.
Yeah.
The thing that I would change about Cortana is I still don't know why she did what she did. They didn't explain that, and the only reason I could think of is her rampancy caused it. Like, she came back to life, but maybe her rampancy caused her to be stupid. And she even admits she was stupid for thinking she was gonna. Now, I do have a theory though, but maybe they implied it, and maybe she decided to control the universe was because the Banished were on the rise and she wanted to stop the Banished. And that's why there's a cutscene where she blows up Atriox's planet. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why she did it. Maybe that's the implication. I
think Cortana. So in her, they describe rampancy as like, like thinking yourself to death.
Yeah.
And so I think Cortana just
overthinking everything.
I think became a super version of herself and just like, because she's a fixer, right? She like thinks she's overconfident, so she thinks like her running the universe and controlling everything, she could save everyone. You know what I mean?
Sure.
She's overconfident in herself.
But she's not like that in Halo 4 or before that. But like not to that degree.
But she changes when she touches the mantle. Or is in the mantle. You know what I mean? And gets all this new information and understands like the kind of power she can wield.
Sure.
So it's plausible that like a rampant Cortana that split her personality a million times becomes an ultimate version of herself and takes over the universe
I wish both Halo 5 and Halo Infinite illustrated that better.
Sure,
but
yeah. It's an okay plot point, but it's not, like you said, not illustrated well and not well not
Sure.
well done, because it's a plausible point, and it's like very, they don't frame it as like a defect. You know what I mean? They make her seem so capable, and
like there is a plan, and we're waiting for the plan to be revealed, or the justification of what she's doing. Like, I'm constantly through Halo 5 and this game, I'm constantly waiting for it. Like, why did you do this, Cortana? Why did you do it? And other than like maybe an implication, they don't tell you what it is. And then she's dead, and then we'll never know for sure without like speculation or saying, "Oh, the mantle did it." Well, why did the mantle do it? Oh, I mean, the game didn't say what it was.
Well, she does say that she's gonna fix everything. You know what I mean? That to comply and to live under her rule is to like live forever, sort of deal. You know what I mean?
Sure,
is
but
to live like impoverished and without problems.
Well, here's a big problem. Well, let me sum up all my problems really quick. Okay, so two of my problems: get rid of the cheesy speech. I wish they would get rid of the cheesy speech or shorten the cheesy speech that the Cortana message gives Chief.
Yeah.
I will say I do love the artistic choice to have like Cortana's thoughts like floating through the air as like that's kind of cool.
Dissipated data.
Yeah, and I do love seeing Chief's history and like through all of that.
Yeah.
So
that's good. That was good storytelling.
That was really cool. Get rid of the stupid speech at the end.
Yeah.
Or shorten it. That was really cheesy, and I didn't like that. But
yeah, or make it more subtle.
Yes.
Not just like, I did this for you, Chief. It should be like, you know, a subtle nod that like we could see that Cortana like maybe had Chief in mind, like she's passing the responsibility on to him, sort of, because she trusts him.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't have been like, this is for you, baby. Let's kiss and hug now.
Exactly.
In the past.
Another thing I would change is get rid of that stupid plot point that Cortana blows up a station full of 50 Spartans, and then Chief just forgives her for that. Like, you think Chief would, like, when she gives that final message at the end, like, if I was Chief and I knew she blew up 50 Spartans, like, I would be fucking disgusted with her.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of infuriating. I don't know why she did that. Yeah, let's blow up 50 Spartans. Fuck it.
Well, again, I think he knows she's sick. You know what I mean? She's not the same Cortana.
God, I'd still be pretty fucking pissed if I was him, and I'm shocked that he wasn't.
Well, you know, it's if you have someone living in your head for most of your life, I think you would feel differently. You know what I mean? I mean, psychologically, people forgive their abusive husbands and stuff all the time. You know what I mean? It's a psychological thing. It makes sense.
At least show him being torn about it. At least, like, I don't know, like it's kind
Would
of
you really want him showing emotions?
No.
Again, so it's hard to say. Like,
it's hard to say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say what because he might be thinking disgust or something like that, but he's he's so stoic in this game because he's just crushed on the inside. So
Sure, I do like. I should talk about Chief and how they did him in this game. Obviously, get this out of the way. I love the armor. So we already know that.
Yeah.
The armor's fucking cool. I hope they stick with it and they don't go back to that stupid line in the middle of the helmet thing when they could have just easily stuck with the Halo 3 armor.
you don't like the shitty force, the green,
Angular, the bubble wrap undersuit.
Yep.
I don't like the fact that he talks during gameplay, but I can accept it just because his dialogue is a lot better than it is in Halo 4. He's not whiny, and he has some pretty good one-liners in this game.
Sure. He's a character now. We can't just forget he's a character.
Sure.
Now.
But I also do want to be the player thinking I am the Chief.
And a lot of the time you are, and that's the beauty of Zeta Halo is there's not always someone talking to him, so he doesn't have to talk back. He can just kind of be him in the world.
Yeah, that's why I love the weapon when she does appear, because eventually when she does show up, he's not talking nearly as much as the first 2 missions.
Sure.
So overall, I like Chief in this game, and those are my thoughts on, I would say, maybe the controversial or Cortana stuff.
Yeah.
But
do you absolutely hate at the end of the game where it's like, what's your name gonna be? And I think they're implying it's Cortana.
Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah.
I was like, no. I was like, no, don't do this.
I also don't like how cheesy that was with the pilot and stuff. I don't know. Everyone seemed way too happy, even though the Banished still control the ring.
Yeah.
And,
where do we go now?
And I'm also confused about, like, Cortana's like, where are we? The better question is, when are we? And I'm like, wait, are you guys time traveling? What happened? Oh, wait, no, the pilot's just waiting for you there. So what just... And they're in the middle of a desert, which is a new biome, but we never get to explore it.
Yeah. But at least that's where we're going to be next, maybe? I don't know.
All right. Running out of time. Closing thoughts. You have any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts, I think this is a good starting place for more Halo. This isn't perfect, but I think they build a good foundation, and I feel some closure with Cortana and stuff like that, and felt like they dealt with it the best they could at this point. I feel like the inclusion of Joseph Staten, really helped things. Like,
oh, I bet. I'm really curious what exactly he did, other than the graphics and maybe the grunt voices and the superintendent voice. I'm really curious, like, what if the dialogue was way worse without him? Because the dialogue is pretty good in this game.
He's got to be responsible for a lot of, like, the story elements and stuff like that. I feel like
maybe,
like, a lot of the more meaningfulness and personality to things.
I'm so curious what it would be if he wasn't there. What it would look like.
Yeah, we'll never know. But
we'll never know. But my closing thoughts. This game is obviously, in my opinion, 343's bet. I will say, with all its problems, I really love the game. 60 to 70% of it. I don't hate the last 30%. I'm just a bit torn on it.
Yeah. It's more of a complete package than their other 2 entries.
Yeah, we're missing some content, and obviously the Cortana stuff is kind of cheesy. But here's the good news about that: the Cortana stuff is done. At least I hope so. I hope they can just push this to the side.
New start.
Everything is about the Banished and the Endless. And
I think we'll still have echoes of things Cortana has done.
Sure, but keep it to that.
And but it's not gonna. We're not on the hunt for Cortana anymore, and don't need to. Like, we know what happened to her.
And the gang is finally done with all their character development. At least I hope the pilot isn't whiny anymore. I hope he isn't. We got that out of the way. Let's focus on a new adventure. Overall, I love the game. To the point where I love replaying it as opposed to the other games.
Yeah, I know you've been playing it constantly, so
I know.
The multiplayer is fantastic as well. Except for all the problems. Except for all its problems.
If you want to, we can do it. I have another idea for a video. We could make a video where there's obviously DLC coming, and I'm curious. As much as I don't want it, I didn't want this to happen, but unfortunately, this is the case. They did say this game is a live service game,
right?
So I am wondering, could they possibly populate the open world through updates?
I think so.
That would be cool.
I've heard that there are files for weather effects.
That'd be so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. At the very least, just updating it with weather effects and maybe new vehicles and encounters and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I don't think it's out of the question at all.
Okay.
But I think the more plausible thing is to add new areas and new story, new area sort of deal.
Sure.
Where we could kind of, number one, we can go back and replay missions, but number two, like how Borderlands and other games do it is just kind of like you are able to click, fast travel to another map, basically.
Sure.
Smaller area. It's kind of set up the same way, but not on this map, not travelable by like
sure
Falcon or
yeah,
or Hornet, sorry. Or whatever the fucking flying one is, Wasp.
So since this game is so rich, there's so much stuff to talk about. If you're open to it, we could do another video where all we do is just list off stuff that we either want them to update in a future patch or include in the DLC. In terms of like either gameplay or story.
Sure.
If you want to do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
But in the meantime, I think we said everything we wanted to say
It only took 2 hours.
In 2 hours. So we'll see if this becomes a podcast on the gaming channel. But maybe.
Or just a just a fading memory.
Just a fading memory on my phone.
Yeah.
All right.
2 gigs.
Take care, guys.
Bye.